Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. It's the In Wheel Time car talk show. Coming up, Buzz Smith and the EarthX event.
Oh, holy.
And oh yeah, some EV stuff too. I just had to throw that in there. Konrad has This Week in Auto History, and we'll get you caught up on the stories making car news this week. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars. King Konrad Delong. We always need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. So glad that you could join us today.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yes, please.
With the King, Konrad, we haven't had a coronation. The King Charles III
right.
has a coronation. We need a coronation for him.
Bing, bang, boom.
That's
You need a robe, and you need a scepter and a staff and all that.
A scepter. What exactly is the purpose of a scepter?
It's to whack somebody with it.
Yeah.
So if you need to whack.
So in other words, I can reach over here, from here, over there.
Well,
After you shut off my mic.
the EVs
Which
have
is
the
your
hook.
way of whacking us.
We can get him an EV hook.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, that big a scepter.
Well, good luck. All right.
I was a lead in for Buzz.
I know. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. EV himself, Buzz Electric Smith.
Saving the world one car at a time.
1 volt at a time.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing this morning?
We're doing better. Let me just put it that way. It's been...
Although after that Lupe Tortilla commercial, now all I can think about is fajitas and margaritas.
There you go.
Well, yeah. Well, you missed your opportunity last night, Cinco de Mayo, you know.
Yeah, I did not miss my opportunity.
That's right, because it's a state law in Texas that come Margarita Day, you have to go drink a margarita.
What is your go-to place up there in Dallas?
For Mexican food, there's a little place near my house that I really like called Pescuaro's Cafe. They just got their liquor license, so that's things you're looking at.
Oh,
Okay.
Didn't know they had good Mexican food in Dallas.
Yeah, we didn't either.
Yeah.
But we know that we've got it here.
Yeah.
And you know we've got it here because you've had the pleasure of having Tex-Mex down here in Houston, Texas. We know how to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit, one of my favorite places is down in Houston.
Very good.
Yeah,
Well,
and Buzz went out Thursday night. May the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
No doubt, yeah. Electric.
We
I
went
get
to the
it.
cantina there in the.
Yeah. So we'll talk about EVs, but I want to talk about EarthX. What in the world is that?
EarthX is a big celebration in the Dallas-Fort Worth area at Fair Park, and it comes out the weekend of Earth Day every year, and they're focused on sustainability. So there'll be people out there hawking soybean clothing or something, who knows what. They've finally gotten focused on electric vehicles, and this year a group called Charge Across Town sponsored a performance test drive area. And normally I don't really like to associate EVs with sustainability because there's such a knee-jerk reaction against things like, the potential, is there really climate change or not? And I don't want to get involved in that argument. I want to focus on how much fun the cars are. But they lured me in with the performance test drive. So I worked the fair all 3 days, and it was a blast. The very first day was student day. So it was a bunch of, elementary and junior high school kids walking around, and there was nobody on that performance test drive track. And you could drive the Lucid Air, 800 horsepower, by the way, the Nissan Ariya, which just came out, the Volvo C40 and XC40, which, by the way, now gets a $2,500 Costco discount if you're a member of Costco, the Volkswagen ID4 and the Polestar 2. And they also had a bunch of vehicles on display. But on that student day, I thought, well, I've never driven the Ariya, the Lucid Air, or the Volvo, so I'll go test drive those. And when we got out there, sure enough, they had an acceleration straight lane. They had some S-curves. And I won't say which brand it was, but one guy said, hey, there's nobody here. You want to do some donuts? So I'm doing donuts out in this parking lot in EV. It was a hoot.
And and I guess that the next thing is that you got in behind you got in the passenger seat with a junior hire at the wheel of one of the
12-year-old running him around the track.
Running around the track. Did they let any of the kids drive any of that?
21.
That's no fun. We need to get in there. Here's how to drive a car. Here's how to drive an electric car.
Just like you do on your computer at home.
Like you learned to drive when you were 14, 15 years old. Man, I was all into
It's
that.
like a video game.
Kind of. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm just dreaming.
So here we are trying to save the Earth, and Buzz is out there smoking it up with tire
Doing
smoke.
donuts.
Yeah, right, Buzz.
The 6-speed transmission, shifter, all that.
Yeah, that doesn't,
You know,
that doesn't
I'm
apply.
about the performance.
Well,
They also had a display. It was really cool. They had the Hyundai Ioniq 5, Kia EV6, two of my favorites. They have a Chevy Bolt EUV, which they've announced is being discontinued, and the Nissan Leaf, which has been announced. Finally, it's coming to an end. And they really had some cool industrial EVs there, UPS last mile delivery vehicles, as well as large delivery trucks. They had
that cartoon-looking delivery thing for USPS?
I did not see that one yet. I hate the long snout on it, but I mean, for stop and go, mailbox to mailbox, EVs are the way to go. Those things are going to be a huge savings.
Yeah, I heard the Chevy Bolt's going to have a fire sale.
Oh!
5 of those caught
Boom.
fire at a 75,000. I mean, give me a break, guys.
Conrad had to go a long ways to get that joke.
But
so
the rest of-
he had to share it.
The rest of them were recalled.
The rest of them are recalled. Well, I will say this.
All of them were recalled, and GM really did the right thing. They replaced the battery pack in every vehicle because it was a battery manufacturing error by LG Chem. And they started the battery warranty all over again at zero. So GM did the right thing. I hope we'll see that in all EV manufacturers going forward to allay any fears about battery packs. And in fact, battery chemistry is changing. I like to tell people that we're along the path of battery development like maybe gasoline car development was in 1920. So we're just scratching the surface at what can happen. And Ford has announced that the the Mach-E is going to have the standard range version is going to have a lithium iron phosphate battery, which is a new type of battery chemistry, which will give more range, more power, faster charging. And LFPs are already being rolled out in China. I think we're going to see a lot of manufacturers going to that.
Interesting.
But do you think this dependence on China for that technology kind of exposes the EV industry to issues?
It probably would have if we didn't have the Inflation Reduction Act. We are seeing so many battery plants being developed in the United States. Chemistry research is going on here. The CHIPS Act has a lot more semiconductor factories under construction in the United States. So I think we finally realized that the idea of having these products shipped from halfway around the world from somebody that really doesn't seem to like us very much is probably not a good idea. So I'm actually thinking that we're going to see huge investment here in the United States, and we're gonna shorten those supply chains and go back to let's get stuff that's made in America.
Oh, that'd be great.
Well, based on what we've learned in Russia, with manufacturers pulling out of there, getting rid of their factories in Russia, and
Just leaving them, yeah.
Yeah, and a few of them in China, I would imagine that, we're going to bring it back home, I think, in the very near future. And I too have been reading about all of these battery manufacturing plants that are either in the process of being built, or at least they've got blueprints and they've got places to build them now, and with incentives. So I think that's going to be. I also heard that, as you mentioned, the battery technology, they're trying to get away from lithium and rare metals in these batteries, and they're going a different route because they know that the supply is limited. So I think that's a point to be made too.
Well, actually, lithium is not that rare. It's one of the most common elements out there, and we've found huge deposits here in the United States that we haven't started to exploit yet. So I think we're going to see a lot more mining. Tesla is going to do lithium refining. Like in the case of this Ford battery, it's still lithium iron phosphate. So lithium, I think, will be a standard for us for a while, but we're going to see them get into changing chemistries and changing anode chemistries, which will give us longer battery life. And like I said before, much more energy density. So we get more power per pound of batteries that we're adding to the car. Now, there's a bunch of Texas news, by the way, that I wanted to bring to you guys' attention.
Well,
That's
I
why
noticed the big Texas flag behind you, so I knew that there was that had to be a purpose
Yeah,
behind
it's
that.
raining there too.
Yeah, and we're going to have some severe rain up here today. But I'm a board member and the director of dealer outreach with a nonprofit in Austin called the Texas Electric Transportation Resources Alliance. We work with the legislature on EV policy, so taxation policy, infrastructure rollout, incentives, things like that. And there are bills before the Texas House and Senate right now. They're going to really do some interesting things. One of them I'm really excited about is a 3-year pilot program to figure out how are we going to sell electricity from our home solar panels, our home battery packs, and our EVs battery packs back to the grid when it's under stress. So for those of you who don't know this, you're probably paying between 10 and 15 cents per kilowatt hour for electricity at your home. When the grid is under stress, when demand has almost reached all the supply we can give out there, the state has a price limit of $9 a kilowatt hour, 90 times what most of you are paying at home. Now, what if we can sell our energy back, buy it when it's cheap, store it in our batteries of our cars, our battery backup for solar energy, and when the grid is under stress and they want to pay a lot of money for electricity, we sell it back to them. So that's something that it's called energy arbitrage, and I think it's something that EVs and solar energy storage are bringing about. They're also trying to come out with a rule that will make all chargers have all plugs so that they become universal. One problem with that is, with the end of the Leaf, that's the last car that's going to use CHAdeMO plugs for charging. So we don't really need CHAdeMO. Maybe somebody that's got a Nissan Leaf can buy a CHAdeMO adapter to these other chargers, but I don't think we need to have the manufacturers of these chargers go through the cost of adding this charger port that's not going to be used very much.
Buzz,
And
you talked about the grid selling back to the energy back onto the grid. There was ERCOT announced this week that could be like a 1% or less than a 1% chance of failure of the grid because of the heat that they're anticipating for this summer, being no wind for the windmills to generate that power, but a lot of heat from the sun for the solars. But they're concerned that it's going to be another brownout or blackout coming in this summer.
I think there is. I think that when you get down to it, we still don't require that the energy generation companies maintain their plants properly. We have, these rules out there that we don't enforce. And I think until the politicians decide that they need to, get after these industries and put regulations on them. Now, we're obviously a red state and we don't like government regulating business. But in this case, we've seen people die from the failure of these regulations being enforced. And it's time that we did something about that, in my opinion.
And nobody was ever held accountable for it.
No,
Exactly.
And part of the problem is,
The people whose heads rolled weren't the people that generate the electricity whose plants went down. It was
made the
ERCOT
decisions,
officials.
yeah.
What were you going to say, Morris?
I was going to say, like down here in East Texas, one of the energy suppliers, the plant's actually over in Louisiana, and it doesn't necessarily fall under the view of the Public Utility Commission.
Yeah.
So, and that's a problem.
Well, the other problem is that we generate our own electricity and it all stays here and we're not interconnected. We can't ferry it in, share with the rest of the country, which is, I think, total garbage. Why not? Are we not part of the other 49 states or what?
We're the Republic of Texas.
We are Texas.
Well, I appreciate that to a point, but when it comes to life and death and being able to run our air conditioners when we run it.
We sell them our gasoline. That should be enough.
Okay. Well, why don't you go over? Why don't you go over to the EV side with him?
Big news. This year, probably the state legislature is going to pass an additional registration fee for EVs. Now, the justification behind this is that EV drivers don't pay gasoline taxes, which is where the revenue comes for repairing the roads.
Which they don't do anyhow, but that's okay.
Okay.
Well, yeah. They don't seem to repair them. I mean, I remember when I was a kid growing up, and when my parents would cross the border, say from Texas into Louisiana or into Oklahoma, the highways, which were so smooth and wonderful in Texas, just went to crap when you went into these other states. Now we're all pretty much the same.
Yeah, Louisiana's still kind of bad.
Yeah. One thing you should know on this, the registration fee looks like they've zeroed in on $200 per year.
That's what I heard too,
and, Texetra had taken a crew cab pickup and showed that it generates only $89 a year in gasoline taxes for road repairs. Now, we all want safe roads. EV drivers want safe roads just like everybody else. We want to pay our fair share, but we don't want to get gouged. So if they come in with a registration fee of $200 above your normal registration of about $75, then we feel like we're getting gouged. Well, the state came back and said the federal government matches that $89. So we still think the 200 is a little high, but it's something that Texetra and EV drivers can probably live with. We were trying to get it down around 150, but we couldn't get it that low. On the other side, there were competing bills that had it at $300 a year, and there was one that had an extra $200 or $1,200 fee when you purchase the vehicle. Now, if you then totaled that vehicle in the first year, you've paid those EV road taxes for years into the future that you never actually got any payback from. So it's we really thought that was a bad idea, but it looks like the legislature has coalesced around the $200 fee, and we think that's what it's going to be. Now, if you are an EV driver or a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle or PHEV EV driver, you can join Texetra for free, and they will keep you up to date with what's going on with the legislature, and we will send out legislative alerts if they're trying to get in your pocket, and we need you to know about it.
What is the address, though, Buzz? What's the address?
Yeah, Texetra's website is txetra.org. And right there, you can click on join, and we'll send you a newsletter once a week so you know what's going on in Texas.
Is this like your website?
Pardon me?
Is this your website?
No, it's the Texetra nonprofit's website.
I got you. Okay. Well, I don't.
In your area, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't understand why we are continuing to tax on a per gallon basis anyway. Why don't we tax on the miles that you put on your vehicle?
Interesting that you should bring that up, Don, because the legislature is thinking about a pilot project for that as well. And so that's called vehicle miles driven. The one political side of our world hates the idea of the government knowing how many miles a year you're driving. Guess what, guys? They already know that, and they track your cell phone so they know how much you're doing and where you are all the time anyway.
Right.
We just saw from that guy who committed murder and was fleeing from the government, they found him by cameras that can read license plates. So if your car's on the road, the state knows where it is and what it's doing. So you're exactly right. We should be looking at the weight of the vehicle and how many miles it drives a year, because that directly impacts the damage that each of those vehicles causes to the road. A 9,000-pound Hummer EV should not pay the same registration fee that I'm going to pay on the EV that I own.
I agree. It's time for change.
Yeah.
Well, Buzz?
Now, in your neighborhood, one last thing. Evolve Houston is a really cool group in your area. They do not lobby the legislature at all. In fact, it's against their founding documents to do that. But they're out there really promoting electric vehicles in Houston. They're a consortium of Shell and the mayor's office, the University of Houston, electric utilities that have all joined together to make Houston not the oil capital of the world, but the energy capital, and especially the renewable energy capital of the world. Well, they're doing campus or corporate campus ride and drive events, and nothing gets people to open their eyes to EVs quite like driving one. So if you are at a big corporate area and they announce one day that they're doing ride and drive events at lunchtime, get down there and try it. If you've never driven an EV before, it'll be a real eye opener. And if they have a Lucid Air there, absolutely drive that one.
Well, Buzz, it's always great to talk to you. We'll run out of time, but thank you so much for joining us, my friend. A wealth of information, and we'll rib you again real soon.
I hope so. Have a good one, guys.
You do the same.
safe.
We appreciate you. All right. Thank you very much, Buzz Smith. This week in auto history, Konrad, this is all you, bud.
Well, the first true compact car in the United States was introduced as a Crosley. Powell Crosley, an American industrialist, produced America's first compact car. Initially, it was only offered as a two-door convertible that weighed about 450 kilograms. It's about 1,000 pounds, Don.
Thank you very much, because I don't know.
To carry the one.
And it sold for about $250. It was powered by a 580cc two-cylinder.
What year?
1939.
1,000 pounds.
Okay.
and at the time you were born.
Yeah, thank
I was
you.
going to say, he's trying to relate
boy.
A 580cc, basically a motorcycle engine, 2-cylinder air-cooled engine. It was mated with a 3-speed gearbox. It had an 80-inch wheelbase. I've never really seen one of these in person.
Actually, in 1939, that'd be way ahead of its time. It looks kind of modern.
Yeah, very much. Kind of reminds me a little bit like a bug-eyed Sprite.
Exactly.
But ultra lightweight, very low powered, but that was kind of the original compact car. And later on, many more body styles were released. There was a four-passenger convertible, station wagon, and a panel truck and a pickup truck, all off of this Crosley chassis. And then in 1948, Land Rover unveiled for the first time at the Amsterdam Motor Show. The Land Rover was developed as a result when Maurice Wilkes, a Rover engineer, was unable to produce parts for his constantly breaking down World War II American Jeep while he worked on his farm in Wales, and he developed the Land Rover brand.
It looks like Droopy. Remember the cartoon series with the dog Droopy had the big jowls on it?
I didn't know you could farm whales. I thought they lived in the ocean.
All right, continue on.
And then in 1954, three-time world champion, 94.
My God, did you read this before you did it?
No. In 1994, three-time world Formula One champion Ayrton Senna passed away in an accident at Imola, which was a track in Italy. Well, they're out of sequence again. The same race during practice, Roland Ratzenberger was also killed in another accident in the same. Yep, they are out of sequence.
This is all on you, Conrad. It's the way that you send them to us.
I'm going to send them to everybody in the future.
No, I don't want to see
that they are
them.
sent
I want to be
sequence.
surprised.
Again, and this being the anniversary of the of Senna's passing, they're going to have some special special series of stuff at the Miami Grand Prix.
What is this?
The Pontiac.
In 2009, this week, struggling American giant General Motors says it planned to discontinue production of the Pontiac brand that was more than 80 years old. Pontiac's origins dated back to the Oakland Motor Company from 1907, built in Pontiac, Michigan. Edward Murphy was a manufacturer of horse-drawn carriages who started the Oakland brand. Oakland became part of General Motors in 1909 and was formed the previous year. And the first Pontiac model sold as a model of Oakland debuted in the 1920s, and the car featured a 6-cylinder engine, and it proved so popular that the Oakland name was eventually dropped, and Pontiac became its own division of General Motors in the early 1930s. And then in 2004, this week, the last Oldsmobile came off the assembly line, the 2004 Oldsmobile Alero, and to this day I kick myself because I didn't go. I was in Detroit that week, and a bunch of guys did go over to the Lansing assembly plant to say goodbye to the last Oldsmobile, and I think I stayed and probably drank something.
Because you were pissed.
Or might have gone over to Windsor.
You were mad.
The Oldsmobile was 106 years old when General Motors ended the brand. Oldsmobile is America's oldest manufacturer. Factory workers at the plant in Lansing signed the last car, and that Alero sedan was given to the R.E. Olds Transportation Museum, where it's still on display today.
There's a city in Detroit area named Oakland.
Yeah, it's north of Detroit.
Okay, are you done?
Yep.
Good. I'm glad. Because none of it worked. Just had to say that.
I know.
All right. BMW is the latest car maker to upgrade its recall of vehicles with Takata airbags, telling owners to park the 90,000 affected sedans and crossovers in America until the defective equipment can be replaced. Blah, blah, blah. BMW said model ranges with driver's airbags from Takata are affected. There's too many to list here. Go to safercar.gov, type in your VIN number, and you can find out that yours is.
If your car has an airbag, high probability it's been recalled.
Stellantis is recalling about 2,500 of its hot-selling 22 to 23 Jeep Wrangler plug-in hybrids and more than 165,000 19 to 21 Ram ProMasters in the U.S. for potential battery and transmission issues. Wranglers have an incorrect fuse fastener in the high-voltage battery. It could cause it to fail. And warning signs may include a malfunctioning indicator lamp, changes in drivability, and unusual noise, or it just quits altogether. Also, 220 Marpo. I'm not even going to read that. 220 of them. Ford Bronco 2023, and then the Ranger as well. Improperly tightened wheel lug nuts. There's a joke in that somewhere. Brake switch light malfunction on the Subaru Impreza for 2023. It's being recalled as well. Again, safercar.gov. Type in your VIN number, and it'll tell you whether the repair has been made or if it's been recalled. Hertz
But
Global,
check it three times a year at least.
Hertz Global on Thursday reported that its overall revenue rose 13% to $2.05 billion for the quarter ended March 31st. Demand for rentals remains strong as more companies mandate work from office and people resume their travel plans after a long pandemic-induced hiatus. Demand for Hertz's rental services was also helped by the company's EV fleet as consumers looking to purchase a car with an alternate powertrain opted to rent those vehicles before deciding to purchase them. Hertz, which offers Teslas for hire, has been beefing up its EV fleet over the past few years. However, has struggled with costlier maintenance and labor charges to keep its fleet on the road.
Yeah, and Hertz almost went out of business in 2020 because of the pandemic.
Almost all of them did.
Yep.
And a technical project manager at Continental has admitted to involvement in the Volkswagen diesel scandal and incriminated other defendants, according to German prosecutors. They were telling Reuters. The unidentified individual admitted to having knowledge of and involvement in the illegal use of so-called defeat devices in VW diesel vehicles. Prosecutor's office said that adding a person would be treated with leniency during sentencing as a result of the statements.
Okay.
Snitches get stitches.
There you go.
That's it. What a mess. That still is ongoing, and it's hard for me to believe. They're just going to wring it till there's nothing left. Okay, fine. Hey, time now for a quick break. That's it for this segment of the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show on iHeartRadio. Back after this quick break.
Are you a car enthusiast? Come experience the 27th annual Keels and Wheels Classic Car and Boat Show. Join us Saturday, May 6th and Sunday, May 7th at the Lakewood Yacht Club in Seabrook. This fun family event features vintage and contemporary race cars from Le Mans, Indy, Formula One, NASCAR, and much more. See classic and vintage boats of all types, not to mention American and European pre- and post-war classics. Pre-sale tickets are $30. Students are just $15. Children 12 and under are free. Purchase your tickets today at keelsandwheels.com.
Everyone at the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy, thank you for participating in the best cruise in around and look forward to seeing you again. You'll hear about the next cruise-in date right here on In-Wheel Time. Next time you're in the West Houston Energy Corridor area, be sure and stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex at I-10 and Highway 6 or the Katy location on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. When passing through Beaumont or College Station, stop in and have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi Tortilla founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of hot rods and classics that everyone appreciates. Look for them at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In. The date will be announced soon and will once again be held at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99 and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details right here on the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. Donations benefit God's Garage. We'll see you then. You own a car you love. Well, why not let Gulf Coast Auto Shield protect it? Houstonian John Gray invites you to his state-of-the-art facility to introduce you to his specialist team of auto enthusiasts. We promise you'll be impressed. Whether you're looking to massage your original paint to a like-new appearance, apply a ceramic coating, install a paint protection film, nano-ceramic window tint, or new windshield protection called ExoShield, Gulf Coast Auto Shield is where Houston's car people go. Curbed your wheels? Instead of buying new, why not have them repaired? How about a professionally installed radar detector? Gulf Coast Auto Shield does that too. Get a peek inside the shop and look at the services offered by getting online and heading to gcautoshield.com. Better yet, stop by their facility at 11275 South Sam Houston Tollway, just south of the Southwest Freeway, and get a personal tour. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your place to go for all things exterior. Call them today, 832-930-5655 or gcautoshield.com. That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.